Hello students, very good morning to all of you. I hope you all are well and you all are doing your studies regularly. Okay, so today we are going to discuss on one very important life process, that is respiration. Okay, so let's start the next important process, that is respiration. Okay, till now you have discussed, you have learned number of life processes. So the one important process, that is respiration. On this point I am going to tell you a few important things, some basic things that you should know. Okay, chalo. So let's try to understand first what is meant by respiration. Yes sir, we know that in case of photosynthesis, so photosynthesis, it is a process by which plants prepare food material. Now what happens in photosynthesis? In case of photosynthesis, light energy, okay, it's converted to chemical energy. Who is responsible for that? There is a chlorophyll pigment, water it is involved in that. Okay, so with the help of chlorophyll and water, green plant synthesizes the food material. Okay, they convert light energy into chemical energy. That chemical energy, in what form it is formed? That is the glucose. Yes, but glucose cannot stored in the plant, otherwise it would imbalance the osmotic concentration in the plant. So it is stored in the form of starch. Yes, sir. Sugar are transported throughout the plant in the form of sucrose. Fine. Now, the photosynthetic product, that is glucose, which is stored in the form of starch. Fine. So, in photosynthesis, light energy is converted to chemical energy, and which form? It is a glucose. Fine. Now, we know that light or the sunlight, it is the ultimate source of energy on this earth. Whatever energy we need, that we are getting from sunlight. Plants or the green plants, which are called as phototrophs, okay, or we commonly call them as producers. Yes, they are only able to fix the sunlight, okay, and can convert it into the available form of energy, which can be transferred to the higher trophic level like us. Okay, we are not able to prepare our own food material. We have to dependent either on plants or and the animal sources. In the nutrition part, you have learned this concept. Okay, some plants are called as herbivores, some parts are, or some animals are called as omnivores, carnivores. Yes, sir. So human beings, okay, we are not able to prepare our own food material. For food requirement, we have to be dependent on plant sources or on the other lower animal sources. Yes, sir. So plants are only organism, plants are producers which are going to trap the sunlight, which are going to convert the light energy into chemical energy. Now those animals which eat plants, we call them as herbivores. Means what is happening? From producers, from green plants, that energy it is transferred toward the next group of animal, that is called as next trophic level. In your 10th standard you might have heard this. Okay, so what we are discussing, light is the ultimate source of energy. Yes, this light energy is converted into chemical energy. Okay, light energy is converted into chemical energy. Which is this process? This process is called as photosynthesis. Fine. By the process of photosynthesis, light energy is converted into chemical energy. Who are responsible to do this? These are called as producers. Which are those? These are producers. Producers are our green plants. Okay, or these are plants which are going to convert light energy into chemical energy. From producers, okay, these are transferred toward animals. So animals, we call them as consumers. Okay, so from producers, this energy is transferred toward consumers. So who are consumers? Animals are consumers, because animals are not able to prepare food material. On the basis of trophic level, we can call them as primary consumers, secondary consumers, or tertiary consumer. This part we will study later on. Okay, but the source of energy, that is from light, energy enters in the atmosphere in the nature, which is fixed by green plant, and it is converted to chemical energy. So plants are the ultimate sources, or the energy from plant, it is going to transfer to higher trophic level. Fine. Now, when we come to human respiration, first of all we have to understand what is the need, what are the concepts related to respiration. We are not able to prepare our food material, so we are eating plants, okay, as well as animal, to fulfill our energy requirement. What is the need to eat the food? Why we are eating the food? Obviously, when we eat the food, we are getting energy from food, okay, from morning till night we are doing lot of activities. We have to perform lot of work, so for that we need a lot of energy. So whatever food we eat, that food, or from that food we are getting the energy. Now here comes our actual point. The process which is involved in the release of energy from food whatever we eat, that is called as respiration. So respiration is what? Respiration, it is a degradation. It is breaking down of food material, okay, whatever food we are eating. We know that our food, it is a rich source of, or we eat the food which is rich in carbohydrate, protein, fats, okay, we are eating different types of vitamins, yes. So whatever food we eat, that food, it is broken down into simple compounds. For example, we are eating starch, yes, we are eating rice. So rice has starch in it, yes sir. So it is a rich source of carbohydrate. So starch are broken down into glucose, which is a simpler compound. During this breaking down process, lot of energy is released. Okay, lot of energy is released. Whether it is protein, whether it is carbohydrate, whether it is lipid. Okay, we know that these three are our structural components, okay, which are involved in the building up of our body, that we are going to learn in the biomolecule lesson. So during breakdown of complex material into simpler one, lot of energy is released. This energy, if it remains as it is going to be disappear. So we have to store this energy. So the released energy, it is stored in the form of ATPs. So this energy is stored in the form of ATP. What is the full form of ATP? ATP, it is nothing but adenosine triphosphate. Okay. The energy which is released during breakdown of complex organic materials, it is stored in the form of ATPs. So ATP, it is called as currency of cell. Currency of cell. Okay. Now the process of respiration, where this breaking down takes place, this breaking down takes place in the mitochondria. Breaking down takes place in mitochondria. So mitochondria is called as powerhouse of cell. This you might have learned before. It is called as powerhouse of cell. See, this lesson respiration we are going to study in detail. Okay, I'm just trying to give you basic idea. So we in one lecture we have to sum up all the things. So respiration, it is a process, okay, in which complex organic materials are broken down into simple compounds. Fine. During this process, lot of energy is released. Okay. This energy, it is stored in the form of ATPs. The breaking down process, where it takes place in mitochondria. So mitochondria, it is called as powerhouse of cell. Okay. ATPs are synthesized in the mitochondria. They are stored over there. ATP, it is called as currency of cell. Why it is called as currency of cell? Because the energy which is stored in the form of ATP, it is available anytime whenever required by the cell. See, energy we cannot store in the free form, or we cannot left it as it is. So it is stored in the form of energy rich phosphate bond. So ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate, it has one sugar, okay, adenosine sugar, and to this there are three phosphate groups are attached. Okay, right now don't emphasize much more on the structure of ATP. Afterwards we will study. But ATP has 3 high energy rich phosphate bonds. Okay, so the energy which is released, this energy is stored in this form. So whenever there is a need of energy by cell, one bond it is broken down. Okay, that time energy it is released and it is used for cellular activity. So when one bond it is broken down, suppose this is ATP, from this when we remove one bond, it converts to ADP. Okay, if cell's energy requirement is more, one more bond it is broken down, then it becomes AMP. These names, abbreviations you might have learned. So they try to understand their meanings. ATP, adenosine triphosphate, ADP, adenosine diphosphate, and AMP, adenosine monophosphate. So the important form of energy for cell, that is ATP. So ATP, energy which is released during breakdown of complex organic molecules like carbohydrates, proteins, fats. Okay, that energy is stored in the form of high energy rich phosphate groups. Okay, that is called as ATP. ATP has 3 phosphate group. So the energy it is stored in the form of these phosphate bonds. Okay, covalent bonds. Okay, high energy phosphate bond. Then whenever energy is required by the cell to perform normal function, in that time one phosphate group it is removed. Okay, so whenever we break the bond, at that time also energy is going to release. So whenever we break one phosphate group, ATP gets converted to ADP. When we break the second phosphate group, ADP is going to convert to AMP. So ATP it is called as currency of cell. It is a money. Whenever there is a need, we can go to the bank and we can remove the money. So mitochondria is our bank, okay, where we have stored our money. Okay, whenever we are in need, we just have to go to the ATP and we have to ask that ATP, chalo ATP, now cut your one bond, we are in need of energy, give us some amount of energy. So ATP it is called as currency of cell. Fine. So this is in general respiration. Why respiration is an essential process? Whatever food we eat, that food it is broken down into simpler compound. During this process, okay, energy is released. That energy is stored in the form of ATP. ATP it is the readily available form of energy to every cell. Fine. Now, in photosynthesis, you have learned that carbon dioxide it is fixed by cell, whereas oxygen is released. Yes, sir. In case of respiration, for this breaking down process, oxygen is required. So in respiration, oxidation of raw material or complex molecule takes place. Just try to understand. In respiration, we call respiration as oxidation also, because there is an involvement of oxygen. Oxygen it is the final electron acceptor. So when we see the overall reaction of respiration, what are the byproducts in respiration? In respiration, we are taking, or cells are consuming oxygen. Okay, in that process CO2 it is released, as well as metabolic water it is also formed. Okay, so when glucose molecule is broken down in the presence of oxygen, which are byproduct, the products are, yes, this is your carbon dioxide, okay, water molecule and lot of energy. So this equation you might have by hearted. Okay, C6H12O6 plus 6O2 6H2O, water it is formed, 6CO2 plus energy. Okay, how much energy? 686 kilocalorie energy is released. Okay. Okay, so in this process, or in the process of respiration, oxygen it is consumed, whereas in the photosynthesis, CO2 is consumed and oxygen it is released. Okay. So in the presence of oxygen, there is a oxidation of glucose that result in formation of water molecule, carbon dioxide and energy. If you are not able to remember the reaction, no worries. Right now, as we are going through the basic, you just remember that in respiration there is a production of CO2 and water molecule. Okay, CO2 is produced as byproduct. Water, it is a product of respiration, that is a metabolic water, and 686 kilocalorie energy is released by oxidation of per glucose molecule. Okay, now let's see another part. Respiration, it is betterly called as cellular respiration, okay, or cellular oxidation. Cellular respiration or oxidation. Why? Okay, cellular is common, respiration is commonly called as cellular respiration or oxidation because respiration takes place in each and every cell of living organism, whether it is unicellular, whether it is multicellular. Every cell respires. In photosynthesis, we know that not all plant cells they are able to undergo photosynthesis. There are chlorenchymatous cells which are filled with the chlorophyll pigment. These cells are only able to perform the process of photosynthesis. But respiration occurs in each and every living cells. Yes, sir, whether it is unicellular, whether it is multicellular. Yes, sir. So, we call it as a cellular respiration or cellular oxidation. Why oxidation? Because oxygen it is involved, it brings about oxidation of raw material, so it is also called as oxidation. Now don't get confused with the respiration and breathing. See, when we are respiring, okay, what we are doing? We are taking in oxygen and we are giving out CO2. So that process is called as breathing. Okay, breathing and respiration, these two are different things. Respiration is always at the cellular level where there is a degradation of raw material. Exchange of gases, in case of plants as well as animals, there are different structures by which oxygen and CO2 can be exchanged. Okay, so these exchange of gases, it is called as breathing. Okay, so don't get confused, don't say this is respiration. Whatever we are doing right now, we are taking in oxygen, that is called as breathing in or inhalation. We are giving out carbon dioxide, that is called as breathing out or exhalation. This is mere exchange of gases. Fine. This process is called as breathing. Don't call it respiration. This is called as breathing. Fine. Now, when this air reaches to cell, okay, that time cell uses the oxygen. Okay, cells use this oxygen for degradation of organic material, okay, complex organic material to simple one. That process is called as cellular respiration. So respiration, it is a process which is essential for every living organism. Fine. Now, after this, next point, whether it is plant cell. Now you have studied that in case of plant cells, there are lenticels, there are stomata which are present on the leaf surface, on the bark. These are small opening through which exchange of air can occur. So there are number of structures which are involved in the entry of O2 and for exit of CO2. So in case of plants, which are those structures? These are stomata, lenticels. In case of animals, if we go from the lower classes, fishes, they have gills. Okay? Amphibians, they have nostrils. Human beings also have nostril. Amphibian can respire through skin also. So there are different types of respiratory system. There is a gill system, there is a tracheal system, there is a pulmonary respiration, that is one through occurs through the skin. We have well developed respiratory system that include trachea. Okay, then there are lungs, different blood vessels associated with lungs. So these are organs which are involved in exchange of gases, but at cellular level, process of respiration is same in animal cell as well as in plant cell. Methods of exchange can different, organs of breathing can different, but steps in respiration, step in cellular respiration are same, whether it is unicellular organism or plant or animal. Fine. Now, what are basic steps in respiration? Now, first try to understand types of respiration. Respiration can occur in the absence of oxygen also. Fine. So, there are some animals or some organisms which can respire in the absence of oxygen. Those organisms are called as anaerobes, and type of respiration is called as anaerobic respiration. Fine. So, types of respiration when we discussed, depending upon availability of oxygen, it could be aerobic respiration, or anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration or anaerobic respiration. In case of aerobic respiration, oxygen is involved. In case of anaerobic respiration, oxygen is not involved. Yes. Now, those organisms which perform aerobic respiration, they are called as aerobes. Okay. Those organisms which perform anaerobic respiration, they are called as anaerobes. Okay. As there is an involvement or absence of oxygen, their byproducts are also different. Okay. Byproducts are not same in aerobic and anaerobic respiration. In aerobic respiration, our normal products are formed like CO2, water, and lot of energy is released. So it is more efficient way. Okay. Whereas in case of anaerobic respiration, as there is an incomplete breaking down, incomplete oxidation, incomplete digestion of raw material, so very small amount of energy it is released, but the byproduct are also differing than our normal respiration or from the aerobic respiration. Here byproduct form, these are either alcohol or lactic acid. Okay. Large amount of CO2 can be also produced, but very less amount of ATPs are produced. In case of aerobic respiration, 38 ATPs are produced. Okay, 38 ATPs are produced after complete degradation of one glucose molecule. Whereas in anaerobic respiration, only 2 ATPs are produced. So this is not useful for us, okay, because it is less efficient. Very small amount of energy is released during this process. But in case of muscle cells, yes sir, in case of muscle cell, if there is a deficiency of oxygen or if the body's energy requirement is more, then muscle cells can also perform anaerobic respiration. During anaerobic respiration, what is formed? During anaerobic respiration, either there is a formation of alcohol or lactic acid. Okay, so in muscles, okay, muscle cell, if oxygen availability it is less, or if body's requirement of ATP or oxygen it is more, then muscle cells can perform anaerobic respiration. We know that whenever we are running, whenever we are doing jogging, or whenever we are doing exercise, we are gymming, that time after a few minutes we have fatigue in our legs. Okay, our legs start paining. Now this is because of accumulation of lactic acid which is formed during anaerobic respiration in the skeletal muscles. Yes sir, skeletal muscles can undergo anaerobic respiration. At least 2 ATPs are there. Okay, so they can fulfill the ATP requirement by following anaerobic respiration. So during this process, lactic acid it is formed. Lactic acid, it start accumulating in the muscle cell, and that will cause muscle fatigue or muscle pain. Okay, so we may feel paining in our legs whenever we are doing exercise or strenuous exercise or gymming.
So some aerobic cells can also perform anaerobic respiration, but basically depending upon availability of oxygen, cells can be classified as aerobes or anaerobes. Now this is a common process, as I told you. It takes place in each and every cell because every living cell needs energy for survival. So this process is compulsory for every organism. Okay, or it occurs in every organism. As I told you, breathing, it is exchange of gases. Number of structures are different in different groups of organism. They vary from group of organism to organism. In plants also different structures, in animals also different structures. Now let's see what are different stages of respiration. Now which is the cell organelle where respiration takes place? Respiration takes place in mitochondria. Okay. So those cells which are respiring more, they may have more mitochondria because number of mitochondria vary from cell to cell within one organism also. If we consider human body, it is not essential that every cell of human body should contain same number of mitochondria because energy requirement of every cell, it is different. Okay. Every cell is doing its own function, accordingly it modifies this. Okay, it may happen that mitochondria in skin cell, mitochondria in muscle cell, these are different because muscles are actively involved in the movement. Okay, so for that more amount of energy is required, so they may have more amount of mitochondria. So if the energy requirement of cell it is more, accordingly number of mitochondria may vary from cell to cell. Now mitochondria, it is a site where your respiration takes place. But in case of bacteria, mitochondria are absent. So are they respiring or not? Yes, definitely they respire because you have learned in case of bacteria also some are aerobic bacteria, some are anaerobic bacteria. Okay. So in case of bacteria, I have told you what is the basic structure of bacteria. Bacteria lack mitochondria. They do not have mitochondria because cell membrane or the membrane bound cell organelles are absent in bacteria. But at certain places, this is the wall, at certain places there are infoldings of membrane. In case of bacteria, this is called as mesosome. Okay, so mesosome is equivalent to mitochondria. Respiratory enzymes are located on this mitochondria. Fine. So in bacteria, respiration occurs in cytoplasm. Okay, there are no mitochondria, so different enzymes of respiration, they are located in the cytoplasm. So the process of respiration takes place in cytoplasm. Respiration is totally enzyme mediated process. So if these enzymes they get exposed to high temperature, they inactivate. Okay. So if we are also getting exposed to higher temperature, we may feel problem in respiration or the process of respiration get hampered. Yes, because totally this process it is enzyme based process. Fine. So now respiration, let's discuss which are different steps of respiration. So cellular respiration, the first step, it is called as glycolysis. Okay. The first step of respiration, it is known as glycolysis. Let's try to understand what is the meaning of glycolysis. Now glycose meaning sugar, okay, and lysis meaning to break down. Now glycolysis, it is a partial degradation of glucose. Before this, one more point. We are eating, let's consider for the human beings, we are eating food, either plant source or animal sources. From that, what type of food material we get? We are eating carbohydrates, we are eating proteins, we are eating fats. Yes, our basic food material. So right now we have three types of substrates which are available for respiration. Now substrate is what? Substrate is any raw material which is available for respiration. So our carbohydrates, fats and proteins, these are called as respiratory substrate. The most favorable substrate is carbohydrates. First cell always use carbohydrates. So the first preference by cell for respiration is always carbohydrates. If carbohydrates are not there, cell can move toward lipids or fats. So this is the secondary preference. And the third preference, at last, if carbohydrates are also not available, lipids or fats are also not available, then the last preference are proteins. Cells rarely start consuming protein because protein is a structural component of cell membrane. Okay, if cells start degrading its own proteins or stored proteins, it will result into cell lysis and animal will die at later cases also. So we know that whatever food we eat, as per the requirement, energy is produced. Excess amount of carbohydrates, if we are eating more amount of sugar, it is formed, then it is stored in the form of glycogen. If we say in case of animals, in animals this excess amount of glucose is stored in the form of glycogen. Where it is stored? It is stored in the liver. Okay, glycogen it is stored. In case of plant, this excess amount of glucose is converted to starch, which is the main reserve organ, that is the food, your fruit. So fruit, it is a storage organ of plant. So the starch or the excess amount of sugar, the photosynthetic products, these photosynthetic products are stored in the form of fruit. So carbohydrates are always first preference for respiration. If carbohydrates are not available, then second preference, that is lipids or fats. So if you see different types of fruits and seeds, some are oily seeds, or some seeds are rich source of oil, some seeds are rich source of carbohydrates, some are rich source of protein. So accordingly, in those cells, respiratory substance varies. Fine. But carbohydrates, in that glucose it is always preferable source. So if we are using starch, if we are using sucrose, the starch sucrose, it is first broken down to glucose and then this glucose enters in a respiratory pathway. Fine. Now the first step, as we discussed, that is glycolysis. Glycolysis means it is a partial breakdown or splitting, lysis of glucose to form two molecules of pyruvic acid. Yes, sir. So what is happening in glycolysis? In glycolysis, glucose, which is a 6-carbon compound, is broken down into pyruvic acid. It is broken down into pyruvic acid. Two molecules of pyruvic acid. Pyruvic acid is a 3-carbon compound. Yes, sir. So in glycolysis, what is happening? Glucose is partially broken down into two molecules of pyruvic acid. Yes, sir. Now this process occurs in cytoplasm. Still, it is not taking place in mitochondria. This process begins in cytoplasm. So occurs in cytoplasm. So first phase of respiration, it occurs in cytoplasm. Okay, it is a 10-step reaction. The 10 different intermediates are formed, which are mediated by 10 different enzymes. Yes, sir. Now as it occurs in cytoplasm, it is a common pathway for prokaryotes as well as eukaryotes. This point also you have to remember. Common pathway. It is a common pathway in prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Okay, so whether it is bacteria, whether it is plant, animal, glycolysis, it is a common pathway because there is no involvement of mitochondria. We know that in case of bacteria, mitochondria are absent, but they have cytoplasm. So glycolysis, that is the splitting of glucose molecule to form two molecules of pyruvic acid, it takes place in cytoplasm. Bacteria also have cytoplasm, eukaryotic cell also have cytoplasm. So glycolysis, it is a common pathway in prokaryotes as well as in eukaryotic organism. Fine. Now after glycolysis, these two molecules of pyruvic acid which are formed, okay, these pyruvic acid, it enters inside the mitochondria. Now after this, there are two ways. Okay, one way is continue to aerobic respiration, another way goes to the anaerobic respiration. Right now we will discuss on aerobic respiration. So if oxygen it is available, okay, this pyruvic acid is completely oxidized to produce water and CO2. Okay, if oxygen it is not available, it is partially degraded, so there is no complete oxidation. It leads to alcoholic fermentation or lactic acid fermentation that comes in anaerobic respiration. Right now we will focus on aerobic respiration. Now this pyruvic acid which is formed inside the cytoplasm will enter into mitochondria. Now when it enters into mitochondria, this pyruvic acid undergoes oxidative decarboxylation. Right now don't take tension of this, what is this, just try to recall this word or just try to remember these words. Fine. Now oxidative decarboxylation. So the second step after glycolysis is oxidative decarboxylation. Oxidative decarboxylation means what? Oxidative decarboxylation, you might be, it is removal of carbon dioxide. In the present, that is known as oxidative decarboxylation. From here, all the steps are going to occur inside the mitochondria. Fine. Now from this, from cytoplasm, this pyruvic acid enters into oxidative decarboxylation. Okay, oxidative decarboxylation converts pyruvic acid into acetyl coenzyme A. Okay, so acetyl coenzyme A it is formed. During this there is a removal of CO2, so it is called as decarboxylation. Okay, so pyruvic acid is converted to acetyl coenzyme A. Now this acetyl coenzyme A, it follows a series of reaction, okay, that is called as Krebs cycle. Okay, Krebs cycle. Okay. Now Krebs cycle, it is a cyclic pathway in which one intermediate is converted to another intermediate, and during this process energy it is produced. This energy it is stored in the form of NADH2, FADH2, ATPs. NADH2 and FADH2, these are zip folders, okay, or which consist of, or one folder consists of 2 or 3 ATPs. Fine. This also we are going to study in detail. Right now don't take tension of this. So Krebs cycle, it is a sequential cycle or a series of 10 different reactions. Okay, during this or in this cycle, number of intermediates are produced. Fine. In every step energy, or at some places energy is released. This energy it is used to produce NADH2, FADH2 as well as ATP. Now the fourth step, it is known as electron transport system or electron transport chain. Okay, and the last step is oxidative phosphorylation. I will explain both this point at a time. Now see, in the entire process as we discussed, if one molecule of glucose is entering into glycolysis or it enters into respiratory chain, How much amount of energy that glucose molecule is going to produce? 686 kilocalorie energy. This is equivalent to 38 ATPs. So after complete degradation of glucose, how many ATPs are going to produce? 38 ATPs are going to produce. Where are? Okay, where are these ATPs are produced? These ATPs are produced glycolysis, oxidative decarboxylation, Krebs cycle. But here not only ATP, along with ATP, some other energy storing structures are formed, that is called as NADH2 and FADH2. As I told you, NADH2 and FADH2 is a check. ATP, it is your currency, it is a cash available. But NADH2 and FADH2, these are like your check or FDs. Yes, sir? Here energy, more amount of energy it is packed, a zip folder, a check that you have to encash where? At electron transport chain. So electron transport chain, it is nothing but it is a sequential arrangement of proteins on the mitochondrial membrane. Okay, what is this electron transport chain? It is a sequential arrangement of proteins on the mitochondrial membrane. You have studied the structure of mitochondria. Yes, outer membrane of mitochondria is continuous. Inner membrane of mitochondria, it shows infoldings or invaginations. Okay, these infoldings are to increase the surface area. These infoldings are called as crista. This crista has drumstick like projections which are called as oxysomes or F0, F1 particles or elementary particle. Don't take tension. We are going to learn this ultrastructure in cell cycle. Okay, or in the cell lesson we are going to study this ultrastructure. Okay, so don't take tension if you are unaware about this. Okay, so as I told you, after glycolysis, this pyruvic acid from cytoplasm, it enters in the mitochondria. Fine. On the inner mitochondrial membrane, protein molecules are arranged in the sequential manner. Okay, so this is known as electron transport chain. These protein molecules, they have electron acceptors and electron donors. Okay, so they are just transferring the electrons from one to the next. Now during their transfer, energy is released. Okay, and that energy is stored either in the form of ATP, or if it is released as it is, or else it is stored in the form of NADH2 and FADH2. See what is happening during glycolysis, oxidative decarboxylation, Krebs cycle, lot of energy is produced. This energy is available either in the form of free currency or in the form of check. So this NADH2, FADH2, it is a check. We have to encash the check to release the amount from that. Now where we are going to encash this NADH2 and FADH2? We are going to encash it on the electron transport chain. So when one molecule of NADH2 moves through electron transport chain, it releases 3 ATP. One FADH2, when it moves through electron transport chain, it releases 2 ATP. So I called it as a check or zip folder. Okay, so in respiration, along with ATPs, NADH2 and FADH2 are also produced. Energy from NADH2 and FADH2, it is released when these NADH2 and FADH2, they move through electron transport chain. Finally, these electrons are accepted by oxygen. So till now we have not seen oxygen anywhere in glycolysis, oxidative decarboxylation, Krebs cycle. So oxygen, it is a final acceptor of electron. It observes whether everything is happening in proper way or not, and finally I am here to accept the electrons from this FADH2, NADH2 when they move through electron transport chain. So when this oxygen accepts a hydrogen as well as electrons and protons both, it forms the metabolic water. So H2O, it is produced when oxygen accepts protons as well as electron. So we called as it is a product, end product of respiration. Fine. CO2 is a byproduct because it is evolved in this process. Fine. So the process in which ATPs are formed, that is called as oxidative phosphorylation. Okay. In photosynthesis we say there is a photophosphorylation. In photosynthesis also ATPs are produced, but those ATPs are produced because of the light energy. So that is known as photophosphorylation. In respiration, these ATPs are produced in the presence of oxygen, so it is called as oxidative phosphorylation. So the process of formation of ATP, it is called as oxidative phosphorylation. So in this way 38 ATPs are produced, okay, in the presence of oxygen, that we call it as a aerobic respiration. So in aerobic respiration 38 ATP, 686 kilocalorie energy it is produced. Number of intermediates are formed, number of enzymes are involved in this. Okay. Now what happens if oxygen it is not available or if cell is performing the anaerobic respiration? So as I told you, in case of anaerobic respiration, the entire process is going to occur in cytoplasm. Fine. So in anaerobic bacteria, in anaerobic cells, okay, the products are different than aerobic respiration. Now which are those products? These products are alcohol and lactic acid fermentation. Okay, lactic acid fermentation usually takes in lactic acid bacteria. If it is yeast, if it is bacteria, usually it is alcoholic fermentation. So two types of product can be formed in anaerobic respiration. First one, glucose is converted to ethanol. Okay, in this large amount of CO2 is produced and only 2 ATPs are produced. The second product where glucose can be converted into lactic acid. Okay, so these bacteria are our lactic acid bacteria. Okay, this is also enzyme mediated process. Fine. So this is the general idea of respiration. Yes, respiration, as I told you, it will be more sound if we call it as a cellular respiration. It occurs in each and every cell. Process of respiration, as we discussed now, these steps are common in plant cell as well as in animal cell. Mechanism of breathing varies from animal group to animal group, from plant to plant, unicellular to multicellular organism. That there are different ways of exchange of gases, but process of cellular respiration is same in all types of cell, whether prokaryotic or whether eukaryotic. In this way we are utilizing our food material. See, you should know what is happening with the food. Whatever food we are eating, what is happening with that food inside our body. So the food which we are eating, that is getting degraded to release the energy from that. Okay, so this is about respiration. I hope you all have understood. If you have any query, you are free to ask. Okay, in next class tomorrow we will try to understand one more life process. I will not reveal that now. Okay, that we will see in next class. Okay, till that, stay happy. Okay, do your study, stay healthy. Goodbye.